कृपया ध्यान दीजिए. The language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative. Welcome to Cyrus Says, brought to you by Jupter, a banking app that helps you master your money, no less. And I'll just quickly point out at the top of the show, this is the Big Boomer Energy t-shirt. If you want me in it, it'll cost you less money. But if you just want the shirt, it's a little more expensive. Details will be brought to you by Abbas in a second. But first, I want to rant on two things quickly. One is I can't spend so much money on protein supplements and BCCAs and all. So I'm looking for a sponsor. I can't do this anymore. Online, there are too many people cheating us. There's a website called Vaibhav, something or the other, which scammed our money and disappeared. Details will be put in a link later. Please be careful. If you hear the word Vaibhav, run. Although that's the building that Kunal lives in. Kunal will not be mentioned again in the show because Kajol is on it. Second rant, more importantly, as a social scientist, as a person who studies humanity, and I have done that since 71, the Bangladesh War, I must say that I know what is wrong with urban Indian males now. The reason why we become such sissies is because you wash your hands too much. Now, granted that this pandemic caused people to get into this washing hands situation, but I think the washing hands, you just give a negative introduction to the body from the beginning where you say, I'm worried, I'm fragile, I'm scared. So let's save water and not wash so many hands. Wash your hands once a week, I think would be enough. Maybe twice or thrice if you're really fastidious, but not more than that, folks. This is my message to urban men to pick themselves up and fight the good fight. In the meantime, while I adjust this camera for the whole show, it'll be going up and down like this just to create a visual effect and make people happy. We'll introduce Kajol. Welcome back. What a lovely house I can see in the background that you've rented for the day just for the show.
Oh, shut up. It's messy. I know it's messy, Cyrus. You're just trying to.
It's like the pot calling the kettle. Well, let's say darkish. I mean, yeah, I don't know what the right thing is. And of course, we've got two men who look like boys to men suddenly had hair issues. The group is here, but the youth is gone, and this is what we've got. Of course, my reference will go over the head of a lot of people. Boys to men died about 20 years ago, maybe even
No, dude,
25.
they're still very much around.
But the boys part is gone completely, right? I mean,
they're not boys anymore, obviously.
I would love to see a reference somewhere along the show of what they look like in 2022.
I just saw them. Like, I think they did a tribute concert to somebody who died recently, or tribute at somebody's memorial ceremony or something like that. Fairly recently, I just saw them recently, or at least I just saw a video of them recently.
Boys to men, in a world where a lot of people are transitioning from men to women. I mean, they're really behind in terms of political consciousness, so to speak. Kajol, all good between you and me? I got a little telling off offline in the beginning.
Yes, Cyrus. Yes, I was. Shall we start that again, or shall we just let the issue lie?
No, I just want to, without mentioning names and all that, I want to just quickly say that my intent was quite noble, I thought, in the sense that I thought, you put your hand up and said that this thing is attractive. I was appalled. And I don't want to get into the.
So let me just clarify, Cyrus. I said I wanted to have lunch with a certain individual for the lunch. He's got a nice
saying individual.
Why are we
more polite?
Not naming the person? Everybody knows who we're talking about.
Let's call him Raju. It's always a safe name. So Raju.
But then, thanks to your bungling, I had people tagging me. I had people tagging me on his timeline saying, "Kunal, why do you not want Lol Rakshak? What is wrong with her?" I have never felt so desperate ever.
Kajol, just rewind a bit here. You're saying my bungling. What have I done? Once we opened the thing, you had a phone number, he had a phone number, and then it's between y'all. Now I'm like a car salesman. I've sold the car. Now you can't come back to me.
Cyrus, this is all you're doing. I just want to leave that there. This is all you're doing. This is bad wingmanship.
Do you want me to request Rishi and Vinay to find the old links where you put your hand up and said, this guy is interesting? I said no.
Yes.
I always abuse him. You can check. My record is flawless.
Okay, let it go, Cyrus. Let it go. But I will never again.
For the last time, I'm on your side.
If I find
I'm on your side. There's no bungling. There's only one villain here. Can you please understand? Sometimes you got to call a spade a shovel. It's him. Now, whatever his issues are, and trust me, his issues are not very clear. It's not. I don't know. I think he's a very introverted guy. Let's be honest about him. He's a lovely man, protected by my family, but he is very introverted by nature. He's a shy man. So he's not I think the forwardness took him or caught him off guard. I can't think
Can
of
I
anything
can I
else.
say, as another shy man, texting was made for shy men so that
Um,
they can take the
yeah, but he's
conversation forward
fair
instead of
enough. I
doing
get your
face to
point, but
face.
the initial thrust, sorry to use the words, came from Kajol. So I think I don't know how it is.
One second.
Amit,
All
help
I
me here.
said was,
Is it
all I
sexism to
said
say
was, I
this?
want to have lunch. Okay, it was about the lunch, Cyrus.
Ah,
Yeah,
You
yes.
made it into
it's a food
But
thing. You're right. It sounded like a
no,
food
it's
thing to me.
not, guys.
okay,
No,
a
it's
food
not.
thing.
She initially said that I like this guy. He's cute. I like his personality. We had a conversation on that. He's privy to all
Then
that. So
I
that's
said,
you've set a premise which is not like okay, it's Vishwanathan Anand. I love him as a chess player. I would love to be have lunch with him. It's not that.
it
It's
was
him as a
that.
package. No, Baba. It's
No,
too
but
late. I
that's what you
can't.
lead with. No, hey Vishy, I want to play chess with you.
Oh,
When can I
Abbas,
make
shut
my
up.
move?
Abbas, shut up. Shall I start with your personal life? Okay.
Oh my God,
Of
no!
course,
Kajol
please
knows way
spell.
too much.
And when you talk chess, please spell pawn PAWN. Okay, I don't want any
Yes.
confusion later. Yeah.
Actually,
All right.
it was all about prawns. Okay, Cyrus. Let me just put it that way. I want to have prawns with Kunal Vijayakar. But that was it.
Well, Kunal has been called a shrimp here and there, so yeah, fair enough. Anyway, let's leave it at this now. The point is sort of past. I think you've lost interest because now once bitten, twice shy. So there's no point me calling him up and telling him to try and rectify the
No,
issue anyway. So I've just kept
no.
quiet. And I also got a lecture from the wife who was like, "Why are you interfering with Kunal's love?" And my daughter. I mean, they talk to me like I'm five. How? Why you interview? Because they just heard one side. They haven't seen the podcast. And then one side of the thing is like we are making fun of Kunal and getting some girl to tease him. It's nothing like that. So I don't know whether he thinks honestly that we were setting him up for a disastrous Bakra like situation, which gives me a great idea.
Oh, your reputation. Is that what the
Yeah.
problem is?
Mm.
No, we've done that before. I have done that before. I'm guilty. I accept that. We have set him up here and there with wrong people. We've had famous. I've got models to call him up and all that, pretend to like him and all. We've done all that. Yeah, especially when we were drinking. But you do
Oh
that when you're
God.
young. How do you pass time? In between cricket matches. It's not easy.
Can we have
Um,
Tarun Kaushik's comment off the screen, please? Wait, I have that access.
Come on, Abbas. Let's hear your story.
I don't know. Kajol knows a bunch of stories. I don't know which one she was referring to.
I know a lot of stories. I know all Abbas's stories.
And
Let
Abbas
me
is.
know whenever we have a free period during the stories of death and destruction.
Let's do a new podcast called Rendezvous with Abbas because there's a lot of secrets there. Which I got here and there from the fact that his living conditions are different today than they were, let's say, 6 months ago. But I'm not allowed to speak about that because it's not open. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah, that's right.
This is the most coded
But when you
podcast
put
ever.
it that way, yeah,
I'm
it's
still
the
on
most.
Raju. She's gone on with Kunal, but I'm still saying Raju. I'm not taking any chances. Yeah. Go on.
Let's leave all of that behind, Cyrus, and talk about the wonderful T-shirt that you're wearing.
And as you say, wonderful T-shirt, disco station, disco, oh, disco station, disco, oh. How do you like that? Do my
It's
own
a
special
wonderful
effects, my own
T-shirt.
stunts, wear my own
Yes.
bras. That's what I say. Yeah. It's a wonderful. By the way, guys, I don't want to toot our own horn, but everywhere we've gone, the Kripaya Dhyan Dijiye, the big boomer
Yes,
energy, the
which you
doggy
can
one.
see on the screen,
No,
which is
I've got a
also
lot of.
available. Yeah.
It's got a lot of attention. So if you're introverted, Abbas, maybe it's not for you. But honestly, a lot of people, a lot
No,
of
that's a
people.
good thing if it's getting a lot of attention because
Yeah, no,
you
it
can
does.
also
It
get this
does.
attention by going to the
Okay,
IBM
there are
website.
two reasons. Let me
And
not lie. One is they are clean shirts. No one's used to seeing
yeah,
me in a clean
Yeah,
shirt, a newish
exactly.
shirt.
yeah,
Untoned
So that's
shirt.
one, the untorn shirt. And so the first thing is they look twice and say, "Wow, it's a clean shirt. What happened?" And then I explain to them it's all called marketing, bro. And I explain sales and marketing to them, and they're suitably impressed. Yeah,
yeah.
but I must say, a
Uh,
couple of watchmen, in fact, two of them together at CNBC, actually stopped me and said, "Boss, na acha kameez hai," and all that, which was actually a point like like you really dress badly, and today you haven't. It was like it was like a little pat on the shoulder, but in a mean way. Yeah, it's all
so
thanks to
you
this.
can also get these shirts from the IBM website. Go to the shop tab on the top,
Oh,
and it'll
Tarun
redirect
Kaushik saying,
you to
audio
the.
people wondering what's going on. Amit, you've been
Yes.
very serious
We are
about this
plugging
point.
the
How do we?
Yep.
T-shirts.
Yeah, I mean, like we're talking about the different T-shirt designs. I'm sure audio people can. I don't feel like we've been
We can make
that.
T-shirt sounds.
Yeah.
I led into it by saying, "Hey, Cyrus, it's a wonderful T-shirt that you're wearing."
Yes.
So
And then
that's
you
a
said
good
the phrase or whatever the catchphrase that we put on. Yeah. By the way, we
guess.
had two or three more from last episode, and I've forgotten them already. I told you write them down. One came from a listener. One
Phrases,
came from
yeah.
us. Yeah.
Bekar
Yeah.
nahi wo. What was Naveen gave one? बीमार नहीं वो बेकार है for silvery.
Yeah. Write them down. By the way, now that you bring it up, where is the golden horde
What
of
is it?
Silvery?
He told me
Oh
he's
yeah.
got fever. At least that was the
Oh,
presumption on his leave application.
Day 3 of fever means it's a
Yeah,
serious
that's a
case.
little skeptical.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd
what am I
expect
gonna
a
say?
hospitalization by today evening.
What do you want me to say here?
By the way, Cyrus, I also got my booster shot yesterday.
Actually, he's had
Really?
fever since Saturday.
Oh.
5
So
days
it
of
is,
fever. Then it's a
yeah,
serious, like,
that is serious.
I mean, then it's
Or
50-50, bro, already.
yeah,
It's a little dangerous. Is no one worried?
He,
Oh,
he'll
well,
be in the
where
chat tomorrow. He's in the chats for the evening shows, but not for the morning ones.
that's because fever. No, now you're being mean.
Yeah,
Fever is
yeah.
always more in the day than in the night. People know that
Yes.
as a fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, he does recover by 6:37. Oh no, 7:01. Once we're done with our shows. Yeah.
I think sorry,
Arey,
but she has a
can
point.
you just
If
put it out
ever
for the
since
fan base?
Abbas came
I
back
have
and
nothing to do with
cock
this.
and bull, things have just
I
started
don't know
happening.
with this Sidhu Moosewala thing and all the deaths in American schools and stuff like that. I mean, I'm this is not really a. It's a little scary because we don't know what's happening in the world and Silvery is missing. He's I don't know. I'm just putting it out there that we don't know what's going
man.
on. Silvery, please, if there's a problem, if you've been kidnapped, send us a message, a sign, something, so that we know. I mean, we're going to do nothing about it because last time I tried to do something with Raju and Kajol that went nowhere. So I don't want to get involved. But at the same time, my record speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Leave it there. Yeah. Okay. And now
Can we go
let's
to the
start our
first
official
topic?
show. Yeah, of
Which
course.
is
We have
again,
Amit. Today we have Amit.
mm,
So we have one respectable, responsible person. Due respect, Kajal, but you become us. You started well, but now you're just another clown. So we're all clowns now. Yeah.
yeah, this will be a far less chaotic show than yesterday's.
No, I have a theory, which is that if you like watching people throwing pies on their faces, it's a lovely act for about 30 seconds, 1 minute. Imagine seeing that for a feature film for 3 hours. And that's what can happen sometimes. You're just hitting the pie on the face, hitting the pie on the face,
I
and
thought that
nothing
was
else
a
happens.
Mona Lisa reference
Who
of the
was on
guy,
yesterday?
Ooh, Mona
Ayushi and
Lisa.
Okay,
Ayushi
Yesterday
and
was very
Nivedita.
that was a very nice episode. I mean, I don't
It was a
listen to
good
it, so I wouldn't know.
episode,
yeah.
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
chaotic. I
yeah.
was trying my best to hold the reins together.
Hey, did
You
you
did you
discuss
did you
Mona
did a very
Lisa?
good job.
Yeah, let's go with that. But the first piece of news again is a rather sad one. Day before yesterday, we spoke about the death of Sidhe Moosewala, and another big icon of the Indian music scene passed away just last night, which is KK. And very shocking because just mere, I think, hours before he passed away, he was performing in Kolkata.
Calcutta.
And right after he finished the concert, he fell ill and he was taken to the hospital. And the hospital said he was brought in dead. So I believe it's assumed that it was a massive cardiac arrest that he suffered. But yeah, I mean, as soon as the news came out, I've been seeing a lot of people of my generation and even younger generations giving a
See,
lot of dedications.
can I give my 2 bits here for a second before we get into KK per se? Uh,
Yes.
88 to 90% of what happens to you is a blueprint from your genetics. This is something people have to take more seriously. We worry too much about smoking, drinking, running, jumping, fat, thin. That's plays a part, but it's a much more limited part. We have to accept that. KK was pretty fit. I've worked with him a lot, and I've known him since
Mhm.
1996. We're almost the same age. He was very fit. He was not an extreme lifestyle personality, where things go out of control. I'm not saying he was a saint, but he was pretty fit for his age. He worked tirelessly. He was physically very robust in that sense, and he was in demand for the last. He's had a career that's rocking for 20 years, especially
Yeah.
live events. So would not think that he's in the category
Yeah.
for just dropping dead like that, but it just tells you how important genetics are and why we should look back at our three lines of grandparents and great grandparents downwards to see what's coming. That's honestly seems to be the biggest problem, rather than people saying quit smoking or you'll die. Not that you should smoke. I'm just saying they put too much store in these things when it's really you have to look at what's going on in your family. Like for example,
Yeah,
my
but
family is neuropathy, so you got to look at that.
if you look at it, what can you do about it? Like, isn't it just depressive?
No,
Well,
but at
some
an
things
earlier
you
age, you
can
try to stall it, Kajal. I mean, you can't just give up, can you?
just
What do you do if it's a genetic condition? Can you really stall it?
So the
well, so
propensity is, yeah. Go on,
yeah,
go on.
that's exactly it. It's not like a necessary, like it's not fate, right? I mean, like at the point that you discover that your family has a propensity for diabetes, or you discover your family has a propensity for neuropathy, right? There are things you can do, right? I mean, like, so for example, in the case of diabetes, you basically control your diet much earlier in life. In the case of
Exactly.
neuropathy, right, there are studies which talk about single person puzzles being really, really good to make sure that you're pushing Alzheimer's down the road, you're pushing dementia down the road.
Dementia down the road.
There
Look,
are things like that. So I mean, like you
the
have to
earlier you
manage
try
them,
to
but
deal with it when you're in a better condition physically in any case, what harm will it do the earlier you tackle the thing or not? I'm not saying some things are irreversible, but you can at least stall them. That's where we
and
are with science.
there are no guarantees, right? I mean, like again, this guy is clearly fit, and like something happened, right? So I mean, like there are no guarantees in life, but at the
Clearly
same
fit, and
time,
he's a proper working individual. He's not one of those,
Yeah.
he's, which I think helps you become more robust in a sense because
mm,
you're physically working. He's on stage, he's traveling all the time. He's a nice guy, loved by
Tarun
everyone. There's no
well,
Tarun
bad
Kaushik
karma there,
says there's
which I don't
a
understand.
conspiracy theory type of thing going around saying that the AC at the venue wasn't functioning properly, and he had complained to the management. But that's
that's I mean,
most
like
most
that's
venues
yeah.
in India.
Well,
But
you
Yeah.
but
can't point
I
fingers at
my
Tarun
question
Kaushik
is, do you
because we've been silly about everything and irreverent about everything, so we have to be careful. You can't point fingers at anybody online.
ACs
Yeah.
and mics which have a bad feedback is across every Indian venue. But do you think people who perform a lot have
But Abbas,
more?
what are you saying? This is a guy who's doing 200, 300 shows a
I
year
get it,
since
but
1990. No, no, one sec.
the
There's no
amount of
conditions that are going to bother him. He's seen it all.
I
He's
get
had
it,
the
but
worst
even at
conditions
that
and he
level,
buffed also.
your body takes more of a beating if you're a performing individual every alternate
Well, I
night.
mean, like compared
No, no,
to
no,
a
no, no.
person in the military, compared to a person in, I mean,
Yeah.
there are lots of physically arduous
He has seen all the
professions,
A
Yeah,
conditions and
military
I like
person
how
will
professions.
still have
Cyrus
a
is
schedule,
building up a
right?
performer. Like a
but he
performer
doesn't a
is
perform.
more.
Sorry?
No, I mean,
Sorry, Kaju, go ahead. You were saying something.
I mean, Cyrus is putting a performer above a military guy or whatever. I mean, we don't go through that
no.
much stress.
No, 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 there's no point
Yeah,
comparing anybody. I'm not
it's
comparing
different,
anyone. That
right?
wasn't me. I'm saying that for the conditions of
No,
his
but
work environment, he's used to
mm,
it for the last 25 odd years. And there must have been really bad shows. We've all
And
seen shows
also,
where things don't work, etc., etc. So I don't think that's going to
I
throw him.
I would say this also, right? Different performers work differently.
sure, yeah.
There are many performers, right? And I mean, like people who are physical, like on stage musicians, rock musicians, and stuff like
Hmm.
that, who have very regimented routines, right? I mean,
Right.
like in the sense that, yeah, they work late at night and they do this, so but their 24-hour cycle is different,
Mm,
but they
Yeah.
do the same things at
And
the
they've
same
adjusted to
times,
that.
right? So the
They've adjusted
routine
to
is
that.
there,
mm.
Correct.
right? I
It's like
mean,
a watchman. A watchman is a non-glorified performer because he's doing the same shift, but nobody's clapping. It's similar. Okay, I occasionally tap a guy on the head and say well done at 5 in the
On the
morning when I
head.
walk the dogs because they're
On the
Okay.
asleep.
head because
They're
he's
asleep.
sitting down, Abbas.
No,
You
poor
get
chap.
that.
We got him a desk so he can sleep, just like the Seinfeld episode where the chair was brought in. It's like that. So I don't see the point of anyone doing duty between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. like that. I feel really bad for them.
mm,
I feel if the criminal wants to rob you at 2 a.m., they should be allowed to. I mean, the kind of mehnat and effort that they're putting in to come to South Bombay and then go through all this. I mean, just let it be. Yeah. And
no,
what do
we
we
Right.
have
spoke
in our
ab-
house?
we
We
spoke
can get
about
rid
this,
of
right? I mean, watchmen are essentially parking attendants,
parking attendants
right? That's
and
what.
what I can't. Don't start me off on this, please. I'll just scream and cry. It'll become like an opera of rant.
See,
Yeah,
at least
I
the
can't
watchman
bear
can
rich,
make noise.
privileged. No, rich, privileged people talking about how their security is threatened by this poor guy who's underpaid, underweight, working 3 shifts and sitting there with a dead sort of. I mean, there's no life to his career. It's
What's he
worse than
gonna
mine.
do? That's what
No,
I see.
but
Like all
listen,
these
listen.
watchmen, what are they
He can
gonna do?
scream. He can scream. And I'll tell you how I have driven away a robber
Scream.
by screaming. I can
Okay.
scream like fuck. Okay. So I was in the rickshaw at in Western Express Highway near Jogeshwari, and this guy came and pulled the rickshaw was a traffic signal. So this guy came and pulled my mobile phone from my hand,
Hmm.
and I pushed him off, and then I screamed. Okay, I screamed so loudly that he ran across the road, and I had my rickshaw guy almost had a heart attack, of course. And I
Okay.
had all the other cars stopping and asking what is the problem. But screaming helps. Women should scream. I don't know how
Right.
guys do it, but
I've tried to
screaming
make
is
women
amazing.
scream, Kajol, and nothing happens.
I can understand that, Cyrus.
Mostly they
But
roll over and say done. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, and I've even tried it in the rickshaw. But coming back to your point, look, I'm talking about building society. Some of these big building societies and all that, or even the smaller ones, they employ this guy at night. Okay, like my building is only 10 floors, 8 floors, or whatever it is. I mean, what do you want him to do? He's not a trained commando. He's paid nothing. He's come from Jharkhand. This is the only job he could get. They're basically really nice guys. They help with the dogs and cats and things like that. They're like he says, they're a glorified lift attendant. They open the lift for you, which is unnecessary and things like that as well. But they aren't going to really fight hand-to-hand combat with 5 militants with guns and knives and all who come to rob you.
Can
I mean,
I
they can
can I
yeah,
scream
tell a
as
yeah,
much
small
as
yeah.
they want.
story? about things getting
Were you
stolen.
were you the
No,
guy taking
I
the
didn't steal
mobile phone?
anything. I was only the witness to this. So this is years ago when I used to travel in best buses, which I haven't done in a really long time. It was a really crowded bus. It was
They
a
have two openings. One is wide enough. I mean, if you just, I
yeah.
mean, I don't care. I shouldn't say anything. Yeah.
Very crowded bus. People were standing, and bus stopped at one of the stops. A couple of people got down, and the guy next to me and guy behind me tapped the guy next to me, and he said कि भाई साहब वो जो अभी आदमी उतरा ना उसने आपका बटुआ मारा. So, like, he
Okay.
was witnessing the whole
But
thing.
Mara,
He did
yeah,
not do anything while he saw him steal the wallet.
oh,
Once the
that's a
guy
good
got
point.
off, he's telling the guy भाई साहब उसने आपका बटुआ मारा. And the guy also was pissed off. He's like, तूने बताया क्यों नहीं जब वो
Yeah, just
जो
tell me,
चुरा रहा था.
because he didn't want to get into a fight.
Yeah.
Or he got scared that that guy will attack him. Maybe he was a big fellow or something
Yeah.
like that. We
But
don't know the whole
after he
story.
got off, he thought he should do his good deed for the day and
But
tell the guy.
Cyrus Brochure law number 186 tells you never carry wallets in the back pocket, always front pocket. All right. It's much easier for you to save yourself. I mean, I don't carry a wallet, so it
Also,
doesn't
apparently, it's
apply to
very
me.
bad for your back.
Yeah.
To put your wallet in the back pocket is very bad for the back
I
because
mean, the
you,
kind of money that's in our wallet, really. I mean, come on.
it
What is
doesn't
wrong with
matter.
you?
It means no. It makes no difference whatsoever. But it supposedly is bad for your back, right? I
Does
mean, like,
anyone really carry so much cash anymore? Like,
I
given a choice
don't.
I
between
carry
getting my
nothing.
purse and my phone, I would grab my phone
Let me see.
because
I carry.
GPay and everything is there.
Wow.
Yeah,
You got
exactly. I'll
that.
pay everyone through GPay.
I have to
I
call someone for
have
help. It used to be Raju, whose name I can't mention.
Right.
But now I have to find someone else because our relationship
I
is
have
deteriorated
100
because of
rupees in
what happened.
cash, basically all change.
I
50,
I
have
have
20,
20
10, 10.
bucks.
180.
I have a
I'm richer
painkiller.
than Amit on
And I
this
have
show.
Europa.
And I have
I
$3
have a
from
mint
my
in
last
case a
US
girl
trip.
likes me.
$3.
What do you
Yeah,
have,
that's it.
Cyrus?
I have this mint box if I find a
Okay.
young girl. I've got Europa for carbohydrates if I need to eat them. And I've got a
Okay.
painkiller. And
What
I've
is
got
Hmm.
Europa?
40 bucks. Yeah.
What is Europa for carbohydrates?
So, if your blood sugar spikes, there's a pill called Europa, which you can take 20 minutes before eating a carb, and it will stop the spike. But it doesn't work on everyone, so please don't try it. It works on some people. It works on me, so I'm lucky. But I know enough people it doesn't work on, so then they
So,
can't
like,
have.
every time you're having
No, so
noodles and all, you take a pill and
I'm
then
not
it
a
doesn't
noodles
affect you.
fan, so that would be a waste of Europa. But for example, he brought Belpuri, Raju. How dare you mention him again? Brought Belpuri and chicken sandwich from Wellington yesterday, which is the only sandwich which I like. They have a mayonnaise, which
The,
is just
the
fantastic.
highly mayonnaise
I
sandwich.
don't know. It's not highly, it's just a lot of people have mayo, but it doesn't taste so good. Again, it's like chutneys, One bhel wala is great and 10 are terrible. I mean, how can you explain it?
Yeah.
Whatever. But so I want it to be worth it when I eat the carb properly. So I take that and then I devour the carbs. That's it. But unfortunately, it doesn't work for everyone. So that's the bad news. So Abbas, be careful. Don't just think
Speaking
there's
of
a pill for
noodles,
everything.
I
Yeah.
love how you're giving me segues, Cyrus and Kajol.
The,
Uh,
the Kajol.
there's this
Kajal's a noodle fan. Yeah.
I'm a
funny piece
noodle
of
fan.
news that came out of Bangalore where a man filed for divorce from his wife because he alleged that the wife only knew how to make Maggie for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Which is on
So
the back of the pack. Not
Okay.
really. Went to catering college Dadar to learn Maggie. Yeah, okay, go on.
the case was called the Maggie case. It
Oh.
said the lawyer of the husband says, "quote The husband said his wife did not know how to prepare any food other than Maggie noodles. It was noodles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He complained that his wife went to the provision store and brought only instant noodles."
Why can't
Okay.
he cook?
Yeah, that was going through
Ooh.
my head too, right? I mean, like, dude, and also honestly, making Maggie is easy. He can make it himself too. Why does he need his wife
But
to
he,
make Maggie for him?
but
And
he
more
doesn't
importantly,
want
why
Maggie.
keep
That's
yourself
the
open to double
Hmm.
entendre, which her family is going to indulge in over his noodle after this? I'm just
Oh
thinking,
God, this is what
I mean,
you're aiming at,
you
guys.
got the 2 minutes, you got the name Maggie, and you got the noodle. I mean, they're just going to have stand up on him for
and
the rest of their
it's
lives.
2 minutes,
Yeah,
Cyrus. Don't
Yogesh
forget.
bhai ne kya kiya? Sorry?
Prepared in 2 minutes.
Prepared in 2 minutes, finished in 2 minutes if you like. Yeah,
Finished
there
in
you
two
go.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to
Uh,
date a guy who
hmm.
used to tell me about
You
all
and
the
Naveen should do a
dating.
separate show on dating. Go on.
Yes, we should. But listen, because there is no dating that's happening on your show when you are around.
Out of the park, Kajol. That was that's a knockout punch. That's huge. We
In
should
the
time this
days
for the
when
end of
I
the show. Wow.
in the days
Wait,
when
let
I
me
used to
recover.
date people
Oh
and
yeah,
Cyrus was
okay.
not in charge of my dating life,
Right.
I met this guy who used to tell me about what an amazing cook he was, and used to make Moroccan chicken and some prawns on toast and shit like that. And he always fed me Maggie. Okay, and he
Why
used
does
to
it
doll
take
it
you
up.
long for the penny to drop? That's the question. He talks a good talk, but he gives
Desperation.
you Maggie.
Okay.
Okay.
No, but he used to doll it up. He used to put like cut cabbage and peas and carrots in it, but it was still Maggie.
Yeah, but so at least
What
there's a
happened
little
to
more effort,
the
right? I mean,
pheasant in
like in a
glass
sense.
and the prawns on toast? What happened to that?
Yeah,
She
I
never
was
saw
not
it.
worth it apparently. Maybe I was not that big a
No, but
fan
what
of
was
his
his
usual
excuse for not
Cyrus.
giving,
No,
for not presenting it? What was his excuse?
no, there's no excuse. It was just like, yeah, this is what I made.
1 second. So we start the conversation with like, today I'm making pheasant in glass with this caviar and that caviar,
No,
and
no,
then
no,
he'd
no,
bring
no,
the
no,
Maggie.
no, no, no. He tell me like, oh, I have made Moroccan chicken for other people. I have made chocolate
It's
mousse.
on my resume, but I can't provide those services right now.
How long did the relationship last? Is the sad question.
Yeah, even I want to know that.
Um, 6 months.
Okay, that's a long time.
You deserve Raju. What the hell can I say? You really deserve Raju. I mean, why should I, put my hand up here? I'm not putting my hand up. I
Vineet
know why
Khandelwal in
Kajol
the
likes to, everyone
comments
else
says,
is,
I know why Kajol likes Kunal, everyone else is feeding you Maggie.
but at least they're feeding her. This guy didn't turn
Yes,
up.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
He's like the bridegroom in UP. And not all the bridegrooms in UP, the one that was referenced by Abbas. Yeah.
Cyrus, that's another great segue to the next piece of news I have. Do you
Give it to
do
me,
you
brother.
have the list of
Did you
topics I
read?
have?
Did Vinay? Did you send Cyrus? No.
No, he stopped.
Okay.
He stopped. He's given up. He's cynical
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Okay, so before we go to the next piece of news, Amit,
Uh,
do you know that there's this meme that
Ah,
on Google, if you enter your birth date followed by a Florida man,
okay.
you'll always come up with a weird piece of news that says
Let's
a
see.
Florida man fights alligator, whatever. Amit is googling it right now.
With date and time,
Your
or
no, just your birth date
just the
followed
birthday?
by a Florida man.
Okay. So
what is this? Like an alternate
January
metaverse Avenger?
No, no,
I have
I'm
no
21.
idea,
coming to
man.
it. Why?
Florida man. All right.
So
Let's see
what's
what
the
I got.
first thing that comes up?
Florida man known as the Monkey Whisperer is arrested.
There you go. So whatever date you put, you'll always find a weird
Why is he
Florida
arrested
man
though?
piece
If
of
he
news.
helps monkeys with
I'm
their
opening.
behavioral
I'm opening.
problems?
I'm opening. The monk arrested for illegally selling primates. So
Oh, that's not a monkey
basically,
whisperer.
yeah. So I mean,
Whisperer is communicating with the animal, so that's the
no, so
thing.
he was apparently good with communicating it, but apparently he was also doing like weird sales. Like he sold a captured monkey to somebody for like $12,000. So he was basically he
Hold
was
on, huh? A lot
This
of
has
our
gone way
relatives.
over what I
No.
expected, but I
Many of our
hey, you
relatives,
made me search. You made me
Sure,
search.
sure.
Of course, I'm gonna click on the article.
Abbas, we have
Yeah.
enough relatives who look like primates, so we have to be double check that is an actual primate in that sense because of the reverse evolution that can happen as well. So I would just hold on for a second.
The
Huh.
reason I brought this up is I think there should be an Indian version of this where you type in your date of birth followed
Marul
by
is better than
UP
Florida.
bride refuses to marry. Because I think since I've joined back, Vinay has
Yeah,
already
four
sent me
stories. Four stories.
where there was one we discussed where she refused to marry because a guy's wig fell off.
Yeah.
There was another one which I think there was some
The
problem with
Palu
the
covered her
catering.
face, and that caused a problem when they opened
Yes,
it. They didn't like it.
and
Then we went,
yesterday
this is the
Vinay,
fourth one. Yeah.
yesterday Vinay sent me a piece of news where UP bride refuses to marry the husband because he did not hire a photographer. And there was another very burn-worthy line that she said, which was, I will tell you right now, just as soon as my phone starts
Don't worry,
to
it's a
function.
live show, so it's fine that you're not prepared and that we can take half an hour to get to it. I mean, no one's thinking silvery comeback. No one's actually said that in the chat. There's no pressure
Everyone
here.
tried to
Oh,
convince the
Hemisha's
girl.
birthday. Hey, stop. We got to show respect.
Oh,
It's Hemisha's birthday.
happy
She's
birthday,
one of
Hamisha.
our
Happy
regulars,
birthday,
and
Amisha. Yeah,
I think she's our number one
most
female
regular.
regular fan.
Yeah,
If
most
that
regular.
sounds correct.
Yes.
So I would
She's the
give her
only
a special
female fan.
prize. I
What
have this
gift would you
6-inch
give
ruler,
Cyrus?
which after my dad sort of retired, all these the lawyer stuff is all wasted. So I could, Hemisha, you name your gift. I will talk to Raju and see what I can put together. He's generally the sponsor as far as we're concerned. Sorry, Kajol, to bring it up, but he has a good side to him. for a well-rounded personality, a geometrical paradox. But yes, there's a side to his roundness, and hence I said it. Where were we?
The
Sorry,
woman,
Abbas, we
the
interrupted
bride,
you.
Yes.
the bride to be
Oh.
said, the man who did not care about my marriage today, how is he going to take care of me in the future?
No. Can I be devil's advocate here?
Yeah.
I don't see this playing out like that. As a student of psychology, I will tell you immediately they must have been fighting tooth and nail from the beginning. Okay, this is the last straw. So
No,
down
I
the
think the
guests being
marriage is the
invited.
only day that a woman in UP gets to put her foot down and have things her way. So,
Fair
so,
enough.
so they
And
take the
also, I think
most
that
advantage
no
of it.
marriages. You guys haven't got married. There's a lot of fighting that goes on about people trying to control the proceedings here, and in that you
True.
can really,
Yeah.
if you're not, you can really fight. It
Yeah.
begins tamely and then gets really out of control. So what happens here is I think they fought over a lot of things, and finally the last straw was where's the bloody photographer? At which point she completely broke the straw that broke the camel's back. Although there are no
She
cameras.
wanted to back out anyway. Okay, I'm just saying it.
I
If
would.
she,
True,
Yeah.
true.
Agreed.
Plus
100%.
tomatoes.
Right.
Plus tomatoes line to Mike Tyson. Whatever you'll end up doing is what you really wanted to do. You know, people can make all kinds of excuses in the world, but at the end of the day, if you don't take the flight, it's because you didn't want to go there. It's like that, simple. So Kajol, thanks for summing it up and saving us time because I'm bored now. This story goes nowhere. I'm sick of UP and the brides. Not the brides so much as the bridegrooms. Yeah, I'm never sick of the brides. Always space in my heart for a bride, but never for a bridegroom. There are too many bridegrooms. I say we give away 10% of Indian men. Can't we just give them away and like earn
Give
some
away to
equity on them?
whom?
Any country wants them. I'm like, yeah, 10% Indian males, off you go. Thank you. Well done, Charlie. You wash your hands, out. You dig your nose in public, out. You stare at girls too long, out. Just throw them out. And boom. It'll be great. What do you got? Anybody thinks it's the right thing to do, put your hands up. Raju will be
I
one
think
of them.
who's
Kajol.
gonna take them? Who's gonna
Exactly.
take them?
Other countries, as it
That's
is,
when you
quite
guys,
troubled with the
that's where
Indians.
marketing comes into play. Amit will take over from there. I've done my bit with the ideation. Now he takes over as marketing. And then accounts is Abbas. And then Silvery,
Sure,
well, someone else
sure,
give
yeah.
it.
I got
Silvery will get
33 out of 100 in maths in 10th standard. Sure, give me the accounts.
Hey, bro, there are lots of failures who have startup billionaires today, like that Alexander Wang I
True.
spoke of yesterday. So
Yeah.
let's not get into that. What do the schools know? I mean, they force people to study. It's more an effort of discipline. That's all it is. It's not an effort of enterprise. So I don't know how you correlate anything to anything beyond a point. I mean, I
Okay,
can sit here and do.
Vinay is just frantically waving his hands for us to go to the Jupiter improv segment. So
But
let's
Vinay
go
is
into
like
that.
a spectator in the West Stand in Wankade. Don't pay any attention. Just carry on.
He's
I
waving
mean,
his
like,
hands also the same way. So
and just
today
tell him Real Madrid sucks. But I'm also going to Madrid, so I should be a little careful. Maybe I
he's
should
showing
stop
you
here.
two middle fingers right now, which you can't see.
Hey, he's got two middle fingers in one hand. He's a freak. If that guy wants to get married, no bride will say no.
Okay, so today's Jupiter
Kajol is getting
improv
bored.
segment prompt is not getting your salary on time is as bad as.
We did that. As repeating
Yeah,
this
so let's do it
improv
again.
prompt again and again and again.
It's basically
That's
the
what
question is
happened this
always
week.
not getting is as bad as, right? That's always the
Yeah.
question. So you have to think of something bad
Oh,
in
I'll tell you,
advance.
not getting a salary is as bad as when a girl says maybe to going out. I got a lot of maybes when I was a young man, and that's horrible. Kajol, have you ever done that? With
Kajol has
someone
a
that you
story
don't say
for that. I
no?
think she just recollected.
Yeah, no, but why?
Listen,
It's very
Cyrus,
mean. It's
let
actually
me be
very mean.
honest. Let me be honest. I have had zero self-esteem and very big insecurity. So I've always said yes. Okay, like the guy didn't even finish typing out, "Will you go out?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm free." I'm trying to change that, but it's very
Yeah.
hard for me. When people send me messages, I feel I have to respond immediately. Otherwise, they'll go away somewhere. So I have people who are holding my mobile phone and saying, "Just wait for an hour and then respond."
Wow, that makes
That's-
sense from a psychological point of view. I totally respect you so much now, and I wish I could have chased you when I was younger. Because I worked too hard for nothing. Where were you girls when I was young? I mean, I'm telling you the maybe thing. I asked a girl out to Xavier's social, and she said maybe. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was prepared for no. What is
No,
maybe?
maybe is basically options I want to keep open. If I don't find
Yeah,
anybody else,
yeah.
I'll come back to you.
Oh, I can't say no to you on your face. This is how I'll slowly. It's like
Yeah.
like a delayed payment plan. I'll slowly say no.
Yeah,
A little bit at a time.
let me think about it is another one in the same kind of vein.
Off.
Getting
It's
a
like
salary late is as bad as
Sorry.
getting Maggie.
Why not?
Getting Maggie when
boomer
you're
energy.
expecting prawns on toast.
Okay.
Kajol?
Trying to think. I've never got a salary. Yeah, I'm a entrepreneur. Okay.
So then how about we change it for you getting paid on time or not getting
Not
paid
getting
on,
paid
on
on
time?
time.
Is that bad?
Really? That threw her? I mean, this creative genius got thrown by that? She couldn't put it
She's a
together.
freelancer. She knows everything about.
She never gets paid on time,
Yeah.
from what I understand.
Yeah. But she still
Wow.
calls back because of the low esteem issue that she
Yeah.
mentioned. Yeah. Don't pay me, but I'll still come on time. Yeah. Go on, sorry, Kajol. You're supposed to
Getting,
make up an improv, huh?
Getting your
I know.
payments late is as
Getting
bad
my
as.
payments late is as bad as something.
Getting your payments late is as bad as trying to get Raju to respond to a female. Oh, it's
I
not
was
that
waiting
bad.
for that.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
no. Okay, getting my payments late is as bad as having 7 people book tickets for my show and 2 people show up.
Showing up.
But you still get paid, right?
No, what when I'm selling
There is no,
tickets, I
even
get
if
No,
70
you sold
people show up, there's
7.
no payment, Cyrus.
Oh, no, no, they get the gate, right? You get the gate,
yes,
right?
but
So you've
yeah,
sold
but
7, you get the gate of 7. But if 2
yeah, but
come, you still get paid.
yeah, but it's not very comforting thinking that
Y'all are
oh my god,
spoiled.
I've got 600
I'm
bucks waiting
sorry,
for me in the
you
bank
comedians,
while I
this
perform for
gen,
1 hour for 2 people.
because of YouTube
How
now,
are
y'all
we
are spoiled.
spoiled? We
You're
just
spoiled.
mentioned 7
Because when
people
we
buy
grew
tickets
up,
and 2 show up.
no. When we grew up, there was no one in the audience. We're doing all the college festivals. You had to beg them to come in. You had to hold people's. Can you imagine? You hold the hand of a guy and say, "Stand here while I talk."
Same, it's
You
still the
literally
same.
pull them.
It's still the
Yeah,
same.
it's still the same. So I'm saying, but there's no ego then left after that. Now you don't care. I'm not thrown when they say there's nobody watching. I'm like, yeah,
No,
okay.
but no,
I
no.
mean, don't even.
The equivalent for dragging them in by the hand now is dancing with your tits showing on Insta. But I'm just saying that after that, when people still don't show up, then the ego gets hurt. No,
Yeah, that's true because there's no other
Getting
plan
getting
after
your
tits.
salary late is as bad as putting provocative posts on Instagram to lure in tickets.
I think getting your salary late as I change it is as difficult as getting salary to attend anything before noon.
True, yes.
Uh,
I think we've hit the peak. I don't think we can top that.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah.
It's
But I
time to
hope
go
he's
in.
better and I hope everything's well
Yeah,
with him
yeah.
because it's something fishy now. 5-6 days of fever ravaging in a time like this with a monkeypox in the background, a new COVID strain around, and people talking about all kinds of disastrous diseases, etc. I'm worried, guys, and I think you should be a little more sincere in your appreciation for a young man who's, you're just at a point in his life where things will go either way. I mean, really, let's take a
I'm just
minute
gonna
and
text him
think
right
about
now
this.
and see if he replies by the end of the show.
Yeah. All you have to do
Then
is say
we'll
there's
know.
an audition for a commercial at such and such a
Okay.
place at 2 o'clock in Wadala, and he'll be there with fever or not. It's a simple check. By the way, we did this with Saukar a couple of times and he bunk shoots. So then we call up and put on accents and say that I didn't want Indo-Canadian movie, but sir, we need you to come right now to town. We give an address and everything else. So he said, yes, I'll come. I'll be there in 1 hour. Before that, he called up to say he had fever and he can't come for the shoot, and it was a 2-man shoot. So we were really screwed already on location. So yeah. Saukar, we caught you. And next is Silvery. Only Raju has
We have to
escaped
go
my
into a
net.
break, Cyrus.
But before I go into a break, I want to say I hate going to the bank. I'll tell you the many reasons for that. One is the fact that, my bank, they always ask me to put my hands up for some reason and check me. Yeah, the last time the watchman actually did that. The second watchman behind that is SBI, where they're really nice to me once the English speaking people turn up. He asked me why I don't have a mask. And many people didn't have masks. So I don't know what that was about. Anyway, coming back to my story, which is slightly different. I hate going to the bank. My regular bank guy is out of town. So I've explained everything to this new guy who doesn't know anything. I mean, he doesn't know anything about me. He doesn't know what kind of money I make. Yeah, hold here for humor. Things I'm saving for, the kind of chair I like to sit on, or even the kind of chai I like to drink, even though I've never drunk chai in my life when I visit the goddamn bank. But no more, because now I have Jupiter. Jupiter is the new way of banking. You open a bank account whenever you want in just a few seconds. No messy paperwork or endless forms, or getting those forms signed by 3 different bank personnel, one of whom is on leave, one who's perennially pregnant, one who tells you will come back in 2 hours. Oh, the horror. Plus, because of Jupiter, I can just have the kind of chai I want at home while accessing my bank account. At this point, I will take a sip of chai, which, as usual, being a thorough professional, I've kept ready. There we go. Life is good again. Just visit the Jupiter.money website to find out more or download the Jupiter app on Android and iOS to get started. Folks, banks, I tell you, are a disaster. Stick with Jupiter and all will be good. I just needed to say that, actually. I'm sorry for rambling. It'll never happen again. We'll take a break and we'll come back. It's a quick Jupiter money break. Kajol will tell us more about low self-esteem and pining for love on Where do you live exactly? I forgot.
Kandivali.
I don't think I can say that. I'll have trouble. We'll take a Jupiter money break.
Hello. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Think Fast, Varun and Suchita discussed the Twitter sting operation and Jack Ma pulling out of Paytm. On Capgemini's Techipedia series, Shailaditya speaks to Anand Chandramouli and Deepak Solanki about sustainable harvesting practices through digital farming. On the Wire Talks, Siddharth talks to author and translator Navdeep Suri about the partition and the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. On Marathi Kirkitun, the Deshmukhs explore how animals and birds gauge their sense of distance in the environment. And on Big Talk about tiny humans, Devi Shobha and Meghna explain the right way to talk to children about sex and sexuality. We've got some exciting news for you. IVM Podcast has launched merchandise and our first line is out now. Head to the IVM Podcast website and click on the Shop tab and check out the first collection of t-shirts. Do follow us on social media as well. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Also, don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms you're listening to us on, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple, wherever you do that, that is really helpful for us. And do remember, you can also check a lot of our shows out on YouTube. If you go to ivmpodcast.com/YouTube, you get a list of all of our channels. We're also doing a small listener survey, so please do help us out with that. If you go to ivmpodcast.com/survey, it'll help us understand a little bit more about our listeners. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life Insurance, Jupter, a digital banking app, and Capgemini. Get the future you want. Thank you so much. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible.
Wow. Ready for the Rajya Sabha, Amit, as far as I'm concerned. His voice, his positioning of what he's trying to say. But my mother is destroying our show. She sent me a message saying, when someone is mean, don't listen. When someone is rude, walk away. When someone tries to put you down, stand firm. And don't let someone's bad behavior destroy your inner peace. But these are the very qualities that make our show. Mom, never do this. This is paying for the Belpuri that we made Kunal buy for us. You know, really. Amit, welcome back to the voiceover world. We've had you for 2-3 days, but you weren't on, so we couldn't talk about it. Just to clarify, we get a lot of people see Amit parodying himself. Well, that's fine. But why is there a change from time to time? Because they really like your voice. We've already done
I had a bad cold and cough for the last couple of weeks. I couldn't do reading out.
That's a bit of a sissy comment, I would think. You know, I mean, you just buckle up, bro. You man up and you do the voiceover under pressure. That's how Rome was built.
Sure. I mean, like, if there were not reasonable alternatives, then I would do it, right? Also, I started what?
No, you put your foot in the hole here. You have to continue. You said there are reasonable alternatives.
Yeah, both of them are good at doing this. So why would I not have
Three people commented saying Abbas should do more weekly promos.
There
okay,
you go.
so I'm not going
Abbas, because you have 3 handles.
Nisha was one of
different
them.
Laptops. What the hell are you talking about?
Amit, have you noticed a sudden surge of illnesses and unexplained disappearances in the
Good
office?
point. Good bloody point. Excellent damn point. Let me blow my nose on that.
You know what? You have no idea how true that is. I was actually going through some of that yesterday. Like, who the fuck is not showing up right now? Because a lot of stuff that needs to get done is not getting done.
Guys, can
you don't want me to get into this really right now.
Between the two pandemics, when we used to chat a lot, one of his biggest fears is, and he saw it, he saw the writing on the wall well before, because you've got to be a little cynical in life. The fact is that this work from home is going to bite you in the ass, because you can't call anyone's bluff anymore. You know, the moment you give them this pandemic and everything that goes with it. So this, I think, now we've exhausted the pandemic. I think we have to go back to some more militant style of functioning, because this is madness.
Back in some form when the rain start, because there will be obviously flooding, this and that. So there will be.
But genuinely, if you're screwed and you're running late by 3 hours, that's a different story, you know. And if you're being honest and open about it, but you can't.
But enough about
every Monday not turn up.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And the lesson for Silvery is turn up on the show to fight for yourself. Otherwise, we'll just go on bitching and moaning.
Bakshi saying Abbas is IVM's Komolik. I am not. Cyrus is. He's the one who's been putting salt into the controversy.
Sorry, I am feeling a little ignorant. I don't know who Komalika is.
Oh, the vamp for Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki, was it? Played by Urvashi Dholakia.
It's basically a negative character.
All of these are words you're saying.
Kajol, please explain who or what Komalika is.
It's because these are Kasauti Zindagi ke.
Oh, sorry. I looked at Vinay and he nodded. It was Kahani Ghar Ghar.
Vinay, the Real Madrid supporter, is our go-to guy for Saas Bahu serials. What is wrong with you people? Get the right team in place.
It's
Kajol, please
Ekta
explain.
Kapoor's most iconic TV series,
Which
which
is
had
what?
Mr. Bajaj,
Oh,
That was
Mr.
Sasri
Jonas
Bajaj.
Kabhi
Roy.
Bahuti, right?
No, no, Kasauti
Yeah.
Zindagi ki.
Kasauti
No,
Yes,
that's
Zindagi.
so
That
what
was
Sasri
is
bigger.
that?
Kabhi Bahuti. And the second part, yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
Amit,
I'm
let's not
sure
even try
Mr.
to
Bajaj.
pretend we
Okay,
don't know.
now we've gone to the wrong zone because I don't think anyone can solve this. Whoever
Yeah,
Mr.
The
Bajaj.
lady with the cobra
see
bindi. That's the
that I
best we
know.
can do.
That I know. I remember who that is. She's got
No,
the
that was
like.
Ramola Sikan.
It doesn't matter
Wasn't
who it
played by
was. The
Sudha
point is
Okay.
Chaudhary.
he
Well,
watches
I
the.
mean,
Was she
again, I know her
rollerblading?
from the
Uh,
her basically Instagram meme shit, right? I mean, like
Yeah,
that
no,
the
no.
the
yeah, yeah,
snake
yeah,
bindi
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
Amit, don't lie. You watch the show with the volume off, like any respectable
Yes, I
person. So
do.
hence, the moment
This
the
is what I
visual was
do.
given to you, you got it spot on. Yeah.
This is what I
Um.
do. I live for the soaps.
No, we all watched
Yeah.
it because it was a direct follow up to Kaun Banega Crorepati. So
Okay.
Thank
while
So
you.
the end credits were still playing
the
for KBC,
5 minutes of overplay that happens. Okay, got it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Huh, okay,
I
fair
think
enough.
that those shows started the trend of playing the episode while the end credits of the previous one are
And
still going on.
if it's a family of dumb and dumber kind of people, after 5 minutes, the kid will ask the dad, Amitabh Bachchan kahan hai? Yeah, all right.
Okay,
What we doing
uh,
now?
we're talking about Justin Trudeau, who has plans to ban handgun sales in the wake of the Texas school
I'll
shooting
just
yesterday.
present it.
Yeah.
It's called News Just In. Trudeau. Sorry.
So, Prime Minister Trudeau announced on Monday a proposed freeze on handgun ownership in Canada that would effectively ban their importation and sale following the recent mass shootings happening in the United States. He said, "We are introducing legislation to implement a national freeze on handgun ownership," at a news conference. It's not passed yet, but it most probably will be. And it's a move that has been
Although the problem is more
applauded
America,
by
USA than
most
Canada
scholars.
in any case. I want
Yeah,
to quickly ask
Canada
Amit a
doesn't have
question.
this problem, does
N-
it?
Well,
It
they also have
doesn't.
problems, but
Not to the same degree, but
not to
there
the
But
have
there
same
been
was
level.
there was
there.
a mass shooting
Yeah.
accident, not accident event in Canada also recently,
Mm.
where a lot
Also,
of people
a
died.
shooting which reverberated in Punjab, since there's a direct correlation between Canada and Punjab and Mr. Moosewala.
No, no.
But
Mm.
coming back to Stephen Kerr, Kerr, is that how you pronounce it? The
Steve
coach,
Kerr.
the
Yeah.
Steve Curry, sorry, the Golden
Kerr.
State
Steve Kerr.
Warriors, Steve Kerr. I saw the rant that he did at the
Uh-huh.
press conference. It was quite heartfelt. I
It
don't know if you
was.
guys are familiar with it. And
Yeah,
what
even
he
I
said
saw that.
I mean, that they've got these 50 guys who are holding up the legislature to stop to do background checks. 50 hardcore right wing sort of, we have to have guns.
No, it's not
That's
50 hardcore right wingers. The hardcore right
then
wingers are going to vote no, and that's the end of it. The problem is
right.
that the non hardcore right wingers don't want to be on the record. They don't want to have voted
So
for
who
or
are these
against
50
this.
guys then?
So they're the Republican senators, but not all Republican senators are Ted Cruz level nuts, right?
Okay.
There's a spectrum over there, and like Ted Cruz is voting like, screw you guys, we're not passing the law. He's voting no. He's clear to vote no. But you
Hmm.
take somebody like a
They won't let
Republican
the bill come
senator,
up. They
like
are like a quorum which stops.
Susan Collins from Maine, right? I mean, like, she is a centrist kind of senator. Now, she is a Republican who has a big Republican following, but at the same time, she is also somebody who would probably agree to this particular rule. But the thing is that if she goes on record saying yes, I want to put this rule, she'll be advertised against by Republicans for the longest time, for like the NRA and those kinds of this, right? So it's basically they don't want to be on the record. The law cannot pass right now. Given the way the law is, the law needs 67 votes. The law is not passing, but it's not even coming up for a vote.
But it's ridiculous because you're asking for background checks, not even saying don't sell. We're saying background check as an imperative thing. An 18-year-old kid can buy
Yeah.
assault weapons and nobody blinks an eye. I mean, that's a little
It's
too much, right?
it's
And I
harder
mean,
to
what else
drive a
do they
car
want?
than buy a gun. That's the insanity here. A video went re-viral this week, which had come out in 2013, showed
A
a
kid going to buy
13-year-old
the gun,
kid
yeah.
just going and
Yeah.
buying a gun.
What is that
So,
convention? What do you call it? The fair or whatever, where he went to get it ultimately. Yeah, he couldn't get a
A
drink.
gun
He couldn't
show.
get a beer. He couldn't get
Yeah,
3-4 things that he went for. Normal
went for
shops with no
cigarette, lottery
security. They
ticket.
stopped him. Lottery ticket, they
Yeah.
stopped him. And then he goes to this fair, gun fair, whatever, gun show, and boom. So piling the
so
guns in his hands.
Nishant Tanwar, the comedian, he went for tour in the US, and apparently he lost his wallet
Mm.
over there. And he said for the next 2 days, I had very limited amount of cash with me, and the only thing I could buy easily without my wallet and with limited cash was a gun.
I think that's a
So
little
yeah.
overdone, but yeah,
So
you can go to
today,
McDonald's and pay them cash.
today he's like,
You know,
I guess they asked for his ID or whatever,
at
and he was like,
McDonald's, come on, dude. I mean,
so
that's a little.
I don't know.
has
I'm
he,
It's a
just
good joke.
repeating what he
It's a
said.
good joke.
is he a clay pigeon
And
shooting national champion at least after all this? Because I mean,
no,
what's he done with
but
that?
he is from Delhi, so I
Yeah.
think the gun
So the
might
gun will
come in
come in
handy.
handy. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, don't like my joke? Trivedi. Oops.
And the
Ouch.
Susan Collins, I know of Susan Collins because she's from Maine. So
Yeah.
Stephen King once tweeted that I've written many monsters in my day, but none as vile as Susan Collins.
Because she's a Republican and Stephen King is very much not.
Yeah.
Although you want to harp on this for a second, I think hope for humanity is in the centrists or on all
Yeah.
political parties, the ones who can look both ways a little bit, because that's the only way forward. Because
But in my opinion, if
otherwise,
you're a
it's for
centrist, you're
worse.
kind of in favor of the
You're,
oppressor.
you're also being hypocritical because whatever
I
you're
think
saying is
that's
Centrists don't put their legs into the fire. They're just standing there.
no, no,
that's
Abbas.
bullshit.
You're
I'm
being
sorry,
very
that's
cynical, Abbas.
bullshit.
You're being
That
very cynical.
yeah, that's right. The idea that you can't, if you assume most people are rational, and the idea that you can't look at both sides and come to an opinion which is neither one or the other, and might sometimes fall somewhere in the center or somewhere on the spectrum of things. I think that I mean, like, it's a very easy leftist or rightist thing to kind of like, say that, hey, you just basically don't want to take a choice. Why should I take a choice? I believe in capitalism. I believe in free markets. I also believe in social freedoms. I also believe that guns should not be a thing in that sense. I also believe in strong law and order. I have opinions which come across all kinds of the spectrum. Why should I have to adhere to one
Absolutely.
faction's religion?
It's not one color.
That is
People think it's
that is
one color. You just
political.
color the paint in one way and that's it. It can never be
Yeah.
that way. It makes no sense.
It's not
It's
even
just
I
that.
irrational
refuse.
to think like that.
The people who call themselves centrists, and I'm going to take the name of Dhruv Rathi. Okay, I
Okay.
just find it pointless the way he tweets. I mean, it doesn't make sense. There has to be some leaning of your thinking, right? There has to be
No,
some.
exactly what he said. You lean in
No.
certain ways on certain issues. You don't lean
Yeah.
throughout.
Why
You
should
can't.
I?
It's not
Why
possible.
on earth,
Now,
Kajol? Why
also,
on earth would I allow either a right wing ideologue or a left wing ideologue to hijack my thinking and
because it's
form my
corrupt.
opinions
The
for
thinking
me?
is corrupt if it's one-sided
Yes,
and
but
one-dimensional. Beyond a
There
generally,
point,
a
is
party that
it's corrupt.
comes into power has a certain ideology.
No, they
There should
don't.
be
They are a
something
big.
you.
The most
They may
parties are
not
big.
be,
Sorry,
but
please. I didn't mean to interrupt
okay,
because we're actually
fine.
disagreeing right now. So I should be civil and allow you to disagree
Your
properly.
team Raju, as far as we are concerned, Amit Joshi. Team Raju. You're the Komalika of our show now. Sorry, go on.
Okay. I'm just saying that there is a party in power right now, which I do not
Hmm.
agree with a lot of stuff they're doing. They are doing some good stuff also. But the thing is, the stuff I disagree with is enough to make me lean the other way. There has to be something which
What is the other way?
finally comes down to. Well, I don't agree with their communal
Huh.
agenda and whatever. There should be something in a party that makes you lean the other way also, right? Because finally it's coming down to a vote. You're voting about who's going to form the government.
No.
Mhm.
1 second. They'll claim there's no communal agenda. If you look at there are enough people in the BJP who, of course, many of them are sidelined. Javadekar comes to mind. Gadkari comes to mind. You look at Piyush Goyal, for example. They're kind of guys you can relate to. Honestly, if you look at their politics and all, as a left-leaning, liberal sort of centrist, whatever you want to call yourself, you will be able to appreciate that their thinking is not that far and out of tune from yours. However, at the end of the day, there will be hardcore people in each party or in each area of philosophy where they're just completely one way. But most of us are sort of here and there. That's what the whole
Yes, but the
problem is.
larger picture that a party follows is a certain leaning, right? Now, finally, you can be a centrist, but there has to be something. You're finally thinking of who you're going to vote into power, right? There has to be a certain leaning.
Well, I agree with what you're saying in
Mm,
a sense, right? Some of this
if you want to
bigotry
label,
kind of
yeah.
takes a lot of these things off the table, right? In the sense that I'm not an Indian citizen, so I can't vote in India. But if I could vote in India, I would never vote for the BJP because
Mm.
I mean, like the fact that there is this degree of open bigotry within the party, I would never vote for them. But that doesn't mean that I have to not that I can like I've spoken about I think on this show many times, right? Demonetization was a dumbass rule. Despite all of the shit that people give GST, GST is transformative to this country. UPI is transformative to this country, right?
Aadhaar
So
card?
Well, I mean, UPI and Aadhaar are linked in their way, right? So I mean, like, it can't really be one without the
He's
other.
a bloody Aadhaar supporter.
No, but
What
listen, there is a benefit to having certain standards set on financial things, right? Now, on the Congress side of things, right? I mean, like, there are things about them which are great. There are things about them which are awful. So why do I have to make a decision, or why do I have to lean either way? Or why does anybody have to lean either way? Can't you look at the most important issue in that particular election? Now, sometimes it might be the bigotry aspect of things. Sometimes it might be something economic. Sometimes it might be something foreign policy driven, right? You
I
look at
totally get what you're saying, but what you're saying
Also,
is someone
I
being
think we're
rational.
confusing two things. One is, like Amit said, you take the more rational viewpoint. I think what Kajol is referring to, and to some extent what I also had in mind, is you always do the but also. Okay, so they are burning down whatever. They have a communal agenda, but
it's not as
in which case Amit will clearly take the other issue, where he's like, I'm not for communal politics. But what I had in mind as a
okay.
centrist is,
I'll put it this
okay,
way.
they are doing communal, they have a communal agenda, but they are increasing the GDP, for example. So does that one cancel out the other?
it doesn't, but at the same time,
No, no,
the
no.
things all operate on a spectrum. Okay,
Right,
if there is if they were doing amazing things for the economy,
right,
which were lifting all boats, okay, that
right,
means, like, they might have a communal agenda in their speech,
right.
but if
Amit,
they're practically lifting all this, then I mean, like, you have to weigh that.
they are
Am I
doing
okay with this?
No,
I'm not. But at the
they
same
are
time, you
doing
got to.
great things for
but
the
again,
economy.
I
You
say,
guys are
you
wrong.
one can say that from a place of
We
privilege when it doesn't affect them
I,
directly.
I I come from where I come from. I can't, like, I can't.
apologize for who you are.
Firstly,
Yeah, no, and I mean,
let's
like,
add.
while you acknowledge your privilege and all of that, I come from where I come from. I mean, like,
Yeah.
just because I'm
Besides,
privileged doesn't mean I'm not allowed to
BJP
have an
is the
opinion.
only party who's offered rich people also 15 lakhs with compound interest, 18, 19 lakhs, and which we'll get at some point with the GST attached, of course, 9%, 9%, so 18% of that. But just to quickly say, they also localize thought, right, in America and in India. So the same, the UP functioning BJP is a little different from the Maharashtra functioning BJP. There are bits which are common, but I would
Right.
definitely be more uncomfortable in UP than I would be in
It's
Maharashtra
different
under
from
the
the
BJP.
Goa functioning BJP.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah,
if you look
yeah,
at
yeah.
America, let's go back to America for a second.
Mhm.
It's also depending on who's in power and what they're trying to achieve. They've got their own versions of, let's say, more left-leaning right
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Republican senators, etc. So
Like
my big issue is this.
when Joe Biden ran for president, someone said he's the most Republican Democrat
Yeah.
you can think of.
No, he
So
is, though. He
Possibly.
really
yeah, yeah,
is. I
yeah.
mean, like, it's kind of crazy how centrist, or I guess centrist is not the right word to use in the context of
Or
this
not.
conversation. But,
Yeah.
it's amazing how, he basically understands that, hey, rational people, we got to work together. We got to figure out how we can get from point A to point B. There was so Thomas Friedman, I know that people think he is a dumbass these days, but I still read his
You read
articles
his column
occasionally.
because it's free online. Yeah. But I used
Well,
to
no,
pay
it's
for
not
it.
free. I pay for the New York Times, but
Okay.
but again, like, he was talking about this. He had lunch with Joe Biden, and he was talking about, like, people don't realize the actual accomplishment this guy has had over the last 2 years, which is basically Ukraine, Russia. Right now, the only reason why Ukraine is not Russia is because Joe Biden was able to kind of stitch that thing back together,
Right.
right? The entire NATO and, like, the alliance and this and that. And it's interesting to me that sometimes those foreign policy issues become the most important, in which case you need competence.
Mm.
You can't have your Trumps of the
the
world.
problem the problem I'm having is his health basically, and look at the difference because Trump didn't take the vaccine and he's robust and strong. This guy
He
took
took the
10 vaccines.
vaccine.
Just for the sake of argument, leave it now. Like,
Okay.
come on, he made a big deal out of it.
No, because
But
no,
the guy
that's
was
his
like, see, I'm
hypocrisy. No, the
healthy.
fucker took the
See, look at my
vaccine,
hands,
man.
look at my hands. Yeah, all that. And this guy said, okay, we'll take the vaccine, we'll follow the rules, etc. And I'm just worried about his health. Just he reminds me of the end of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, where with all his greatness as a statesman and orator, at the end, I mean, it was not good.
Yeah.
You want to be careful who's in power. We have a
Atal
couple of
Bihari
these.
Vajpayee is also a good example of the most Nehruvian BJP leader you
Yeah,
could
There
there
think
you
you
of.
go.
go.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a
Yeah.
very good example of going this way, but coming from that way. There you go.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And also going this way and becoming more moderate when he was in power. The Shiv Sena
Mhm.
95 became very moderate when they were in power.
Yeah.
Didn't, there was no beat
They're
back.
moderate
Now
now.
also,
They're
yeah.
now moderate
They are
now.
moderate
This
again.
is
Yeah,
moderate
this
again.
is
now,
the
I
fucking
think.
party that dug up
Yeah.
cricket
The
pitches,
pitch.
Correct.
right?
Absolutely.
I mean, like,
And
they're
threaten.
Yeah,
Valentine's Day, which they pronounce
but
Valentine,
they've been
that was not allowed.
phenomenal. They've been a really kind. I don't want to say phenomenal because no government in India is
Yeah,
phenomenal,
yeah.
right?
But it's a breadth.
But
It's
they've
a
done a
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
good broad job in this kind of
Yeah, fair enough.
shitty
Also,
pandemic. Bombay's been like reasonably, like we had one bad month, I feel like, in Bombay during this
yeah,
pandemic,
yeah,
right? Other
yeah.
than that, I think that it's been handled well. Yeah, I mean, like, they've done
No,
a
but right now, I would say
surprisingly good job.
I would like the pandemic back. I can't bear the people on the road. I'm just frankly
Back, it
speaking.
never went away.
No, I know, but I'm just thinking maybe they could do a lockdown again for those who are scared, because a lot of people are scared. I'm saying, you're scared, stay home. I keep telling people it's back, go back home. There's too many
That's
people
why
on the road.
Silvery is at home. Cyrus.
Silvery's reasons are different.
Man, I
Silvery's
hope he
higher
doesn't like
pursuits.
actually
There
have
is
to
Yeah, I'm gonna
follow
have to
up
cut
something.
all of this out.
No,
He
because
hasn't replied back. I texted him.
he's been out for 5 days. I hope he's not got like something like
Oh,
real.
If
he
something
has
really happened to
replied
him,
back. Cyrus.
we are finished. As a group of bumbling comedians sitting around and making fun of a guy who's really suffering. Oops, I meant Biden. Oh, go on.
Cyrus, I have a detailed message from Antariksh. This is
Can you
breaking
play it?
news,
Can you
exclusive.
play it? Can you take a screenshot and send it or whatever?
I'll read it out if you want.
Yeah, read it out. I think
So
that's
I
fair.
asked
Read
him,
it
"Hey
out.
Antariksh, what's up? How are you feeling?"
You do the
He
1, 2, 3
replies,
style.
he,
Abbas, I got a
I'm
thing.
not making this up. He's replied with two
And
hays.
I got a thing. 1, 2, 3 and 1, 1, 2, 3 and yeah.
Says, hey man, what's up? I'm not well at all. Severe fever, which keeps coming back every 4 or 5 hours. The effect of the medicine goes
Oh
down,
fuck.
along with shivering as well. I got all the tests done, came COVID negative, no typhoid, dengue, malaria, but my WBC count is low, which means immunity is way down. We still don't know what I have. It might
Oh
just be a
man.
viral, but viral shouldn't last so damn long. It might be some internal infection, perhaps, so not well at all. Big time pain. Also, I keep hearing you guys shitting on me and doubting my diagnosis on cock and bull. Hilarious.
Silvery, can you make a video and send it so we
Yeah,
can see
we'll,
that
we'll
it's all
ask him. We
true?
can play it
It's
tomorrow.
possible, just with some Shania music in the background, the relevant sort of mood, ambience lighting, and just boom, and we can stop this. Yeah,
Yeah, but
be
we
careful.
hope you feel well very soon.
Yeah, I
No,
hope
no,
so
let's
too.
not push it. We're not Mother Teresa.
Well, I
A
mean, like,
little more
We're feeling
sincerity,
bad.
Abbas.
We're just feeling
Little
bad.
more
Cyrus,
That's
he
it.
has
sincerity.
more
In
work
case.
to do than just coming on Cock and Bull for 1 hour in the morning. I need him back in the office, man.
Uh, uh.
Cool,
Bus is
let's go to
fine.
the AMAs.
Sorry, I
Ooh,
did that.
something
I
happened.
did that.
Amit, what have you done?
I
This is
think
why I don't like to
no,
come to
I
class.
didn't do that.
I have load shedding
It's
all the
back.
time.
Wait, I did this and okay. I felt okay.
Everything's fine, Cyrus.
No, I'm just throwing his weight around like that in the studio is not right. He's upset with something. Shut the lights. I mean, what's
No,
going
no.
on?
I think basically I pushed one of these things on the back, these little square thingies, and I
And
thought that turned off the
A
light.
secret door opened.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, what
and
the fuck
Silvery
happened to
and
the studio,
Silvery came
man?
out. Oh my god. Hey, are
So
we
let's
doing
go to
AMAs?
the AMAs. Yeah,
Yes.
we have a bunch of questions.
Yeah. Big Boomer
all
Energy.
right.
Buy the T-shirt. Buy. Huh.
Yes, please.
IVMpodcast.com.
shop tab, and it'll redirect you to the page where you can buy your
Hey,
t-shirt.
listen. Two guys
Yeah.
wanted to buy it. I couldn't remember how to buy it. So they have to
Just
just get
from
onto
the
this.
website. From the website. Tell them from the website.
Okay.
You go to the
Just
website and
send
there's
me
a shop.
I know it's very simple, but just send it on WhatsApp now so I can
I
pass it to
will.
people.
Yes.
Because right now the sales will be by hi, would you like to buy? And then if it
Yes.
gets a little more,
Yes.
it's different. Kajol,
Cool.
would you like a free T-shirt?
No, I'll buy one.
She's gonna get.
Oh, there's no problem. Aisha,
Please
just
bye
wash-
bye. Sorry, forgot I said that.
Yeah. I'll get my wife to wash and send. I'm always the chauvinist when it
I'm
comes
not going
to
to fit into your t-shirt, Cyrus.
How dare you? I share my wife's clothes. What's wrong? Don't get gender specific
Okay.
into this.
EMA time. The first one comes from Neha Bhale. It's actually
My
for,
chest is 45. Is that not
I'll
enough?
it's
fit.
actually for
I'll fit.
me.
I'll
There
fit.
you go.
Neha. Neha says, want to hear Abbas's comic stand story. How fun would it have been to watch him on the show?
Hey, what
I'd
happened?
like
Yeah,
to
yeah.
I'd like to tell Neha I am actually on the show for all of 8 seconds in episode 1, season
Oh.
1, episode
No,
1.
just no. But something went wrong in the sense that something
No,
happened.
nothing
No?
went wrong.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be on season 2.
No, that didn't happen.
Okay.
So season 1 I auditioned. I
Was
got
there a
through the
season
first
2?
round.
Oh.
There was a season 2. There's going to be a season 3
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh.
Went for the audition, got through the first round. Then they had another audition with the crowd and everything, which was just before the short list of comedians, which I didn't make it through. Then for season 2, they called me for an interview, which I gave, and then I never heard back from them. So I sympathize with you, Kajol. So yeah,
But then,
that's
oh,
my comic stance
Who
too.
were the
because
judges?
I have totally ignored Comic Stand calls. Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3.
Oh,
Yeah,
they've been
but
calling her. Judges for season one was Sapan Verma and Naveen Richard, and season two I did
they're
not
nice
have
guys.
a.
Aren't they
Yeah,
nice
season
guys?
two I did not have
One
a
sec, one sec. Did they
meeting
make
with it.
decisions or did the television
I have no
provider make?
idea. I think the producers or the writers,
I think
whoever,
so. I don't think
busted
No, no, the
Sapan
something.
and
judges do have a say.
Yeah, they do have a say. They do score you on the show.
okay, I did something with this Sapan recently on MTV. I can't remember what. And Naveen has come to the Oval and sat with my dogs about 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, he introduced himself. I had no idea. I thought he was like I got scared. I thought he was like one of those guys who likes you physically because he was
You mean
over
Naveen
friendly.
Richard, not Naveen Norona?
No, Naveen Richard. Naveen Narona, you
Okay.
know he likes you physically, so you just stay where you are. Yeah,
Right.
it's a different story. Yeah.
Okay. The next one comes from Madhu. Madhu Sethi says, "Hello from a train to Amritsar. Got on from Delhi. Amit's pick for finals: Boston or JSW, and what are his thoughts on the Wizards for new season?"
Fuck the
I'm gonna
Celtics.
sit back.
Fuck the Celtics. That's first and foremost and always. So obviously Golden State, which is probably the team that I enjoy. And the Wizards are always screwed. They'll be screwed again next year. Bradley Beal's gonna go. I'm speaking words which nobody knows. That's
I
okay.
no,
Okay,
you
next.
do. I just watching that care. I hope I say his name correctly. Watching him talk and he just push basketball to the side. I'm thinking you make a guy do a press conference a few minutes after the kids 400 miles away have
Mhm.
been slaughtered by some nutcase. I mean, what do you want to do? I mean, how can you just talk about the sport with It wasn't easy. I was just
Yeah.
thinking these kind of things. Sometimes you got to just not do it. Maybe the PC was not a good
But
idea
I mean, like,
at the
so
point.
I mean, this has always been a thing. I've been listening to a podcast called the Elite Club or something like that, where they're talking about like all of these it's a historical NBA podcast, right? So there have been different times where a choice is being trying to do we actually play this game or not, right? Like, so when so somebody in Milwaukee got killed immediately following the Black Lives Matters protests which happened last year. So I mean, like, that was set off by somebody getting killed in Minnesota, after which somebody got killed in Milwaukee. Milwaukee didn't play that day. That was the first time a game was canceled because of this. But there was a long debate when Robert Kennedy got assassinated as to by between Will Chamberlain and
Wow.
Bill Russell, these two, like, iconic best of all time type players. They
These
were in the
references,
finals together.
I feel like crying because I know them
Mm.
all three.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, but they're big names, right? But Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain went into this entire thing. Should we play? Requested by the
Live. They had a
huh?
live argument.
Well, no, yeah, no. So the two of them were discussing: do we play or do we not play? But then what happened was the mayors of Philadelphia and Boston, which were the finals teams at that point in time, asked them to play because they were like, basically, this is a way for us to kind of keep people off the streets in this kind of a
No,
tough
no.
time.
So if it was cricket wise, IPL final, whatever, I'd say they should
Huh,
play. I'm saying don't do the press
huh,
conference because it's a little difficult to talk cricket, right? With
huh.
this in the back. There are kids being slaughtered. There's nothing worse in a society than kids being slaughtered. What else
Yeah,
do you, I mean, how can you just discuss? I think a 3-pointer will settle the match. You don't get into that. But you play because you're right. The show must go on. Always say that. Our
yeah,
podcast will go on regardless. I will be in Spain, but the podcast will go on.
yes.
I will be in Spain. You will be in pain. That kind of thing. Aman Verma 3050. Is this the Aman Verma who was on TV?
I don't think so.
I say it is.
I mean, we have a VB listening to us, which I think is Vishal Bhardwaj. So this Aman
Of
Verma might
course,
be him.
of course.
Aman Verma 3050 says felt really bad for Jimmy Butler. Amit, do you think he was better than Tatum this season?
And this is
Uh,
not Josh Butler for those
And it's
listening to
not
this podcast.
Channing Tatum.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So just this is a conversation between Aman and Amit, which has nothing to do with us. We'll leave. We'll come back in a minute.
Yeah, I think me and Kajol should also leave.
Really. She can quickly
yeah, let's drop
watch
the
something else for a
basketball, I
couple of
guess.
minutes. Yeah.
But I'll give a quick answer here. Basically, Miami and Boston was the Eastern Conference Finals. It is probably the first NBA conference finals that I've not watched a single game from because I hate both teams.
Mm.
It would actually give me pain to watch either one of them win.
What a
All right.
petty guy. After
I
all you've
am.
said about humanity and such a
Absolutely.
worldly, wise human being, and then you get a little irritated with two teams in basketball. Really.
Yes. Absolutely.
PC has a question for Cyrus. Cyrus, why don't we see you in movies?
Or you can go the other way. Why do we see you in movies? I mean, you could ask that question as well. Yeah, that's fair. I'm still waiting for Penthouse to release now. I don't know what's going on with that on Netflix.
Mm.
So
Penthouse.
movies. Well, uh, that's the Indian version was called Penthouse. I also thought what you're thinking, but it's because
That's why you
the
said
American.
yes to the movie.
No, I said yes because it was a pandemic and there was no work, so that was it. Yeah,
What is this movie about? I mean, I'm dying to
it's
see
a
it.
murder mystery. It's actually a murder mystery. That's what it is. In one sentence. Don't ask me what I'm doing there. Their budgets were low. Yeah, they had to fill up the frame with 5, 6 men, and I'm one of them. That's it. But it was a fun experience. The food was good. Nobody. I love being in a film only because the treatment is. You live in another world then. All your stand-up gigs and your events and all that, nothing compares to the treatment you get on a film set. You get your own
Hmm.
trailer, 36 people come to take your order. They don't want you to come early. They want you to come late. They're all worried for you. And sometimes you just do one line or one. Sometimes you just do one walk in a whole day shooting. Literally. So I mean, those days you can't believe because you come back after 16 hours or something with travel, and your mom and all thinks, "Oh God, the guy's really shattered. What a long day." And I'm thinking, "Yeah, mom, that's right. I just walked once across. There's a close of my feet, and that's it." I watched two T20 matches. I remember it was the highlight of
Okay.
that day, particular day. Yes,
Let's
sir.
take two more. The next one
Oh,
is
I'm gonna go to the
from.
travel agent. Hurry it up, huh?
Okay, just one more then. Venkat, aim for Amit. Let's say Earth 2.0, US does bring in some gun legislation. What can be done about the 350 million odd already out there?
That's a hard question that I don't think we can answer. But first, Cyrus has to go to the travel agent.
No, so one second. Let's look at this for a second. Okay, so you can get guns off people. That's another story altogether. But that doesn't mean you don't legislate. You have to try to
So
do
New
something.
Zealand did this thing where the government bought back the
They bought
guns
back
which
the
were
guns.
already
Australia,
out there.
Australia. I
Australia.
think.
Also New Zealand.
I think New
Well, it
Zealand.
was mass
I think
murdered in
both of them. I
Australia.
think it's happened somewhere else also in Europe, where
Yeah.
they did buyback guns.
So
But
you
what
can
if the people don't want to sell it back to the
Well,
government?
no,
They
so I
can
mean,
not
sell
like
it.
that.
you
What
basically
if you
set up a
withhold the information? You can still withhold information. There are ways to do jugaad and all that.
Then
yeah.
it's illegal,
Then
right?
it becomes
Yeah, but
illegal. But
I'm saying make it hard. No, make it as hard as
yeah,
you can. That's all. What else can you do?
illegal is
It's
illegal, right? At the end of the day. And again,
yeah,
remember the old Fiat cars which used to open the other way? Those are no longer on the
yeah,
streets. Why? Because they don't pass inspection anymore.
right.
Similarly, if your gun doesn't pass inspection, that I mean, these are the ways to handle it. You can't, I mean, like you're not going to get all of them off, but at least try some. And
Exactly.
there's no silver bullet solution to these things. That's the key problem that happens with political discussion, right? The assumption that there is one answer that's going to solve all problems, where answers
No
are
one,
typically like you do 20 different things, out of which 9 or 10 of them will work, and out of which one will have
Amit,
a 2% impact, one will have a
exactly.
4%
It's
impact.
exactly like our podcast. We try to give you different interesting stories. Most of them don't work. But if we
No,
didn't try, what was the point of the podcast? So that's the whole thing,
exactly.
right, Abbas? I mean, today's show's a failure.
Absolutely.
And considering all the shows are failures, this stands out as a really bad failure. But we tried. They don't try. They
Mhm.
can't sit there, 50 guys with a red flag and say, no, bullshit, we're not participating. That's it. I mean, I don't know what else they want. Every week we read about something and it's just ridiculous. I mean, it
Yeah.
can't be that easy that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a shop and buy assault weapons or, make one
13,
phone call and
13.
yeah, I'm a 13-year-old kid in the sting, but I'm saying the kid, whatever his name was, Carlos, whatever. I mean, he was 18 years old. I mean, how do you get
Yeah.
assault weapons? Just yeah. My wife will come into the frame so they know. But if you come in the frame, they know I'm telling the truth. Otherwise, it's like a mad person talking to imaginary people, and I'm overacting all the time, so they don't believe it.
All right.
My wife came
Cool.
into the room.
That brings us to the end of the episode.
Kajol, don't get married, no? Oh. Because you look so
With you
happy and
around, Cyrus.
self-contained.
With you around, Cyrus.
Don't
That's not
judge.
gonna
I'm not
happen.
the worst male. Trust me, they're worse than me. Don't judge. You've met Raju. Come on. Yeah, everybody thinks he's the great one.
And
I would
Cyrus, before we wrap
never
up,
have done that. Sorry, Abbas, you were
before
saying.
we wrap up,
Kai, don't forget to download the Jupiter Money app on the Apple Store, the Google Play Store. We'll leave you with a message from Kajol and Amit about life in the NBA. Okay. Go on.
keep dribbling, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that your message to the old?
Sure. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. I have to go,
Bye-bye.
guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.